Hey, welcome to the Elevating IT podcast and our regular weekly live. I'm your host, Mike Brooks, here with you, and I'm solo today. Usually joined by Frank DiBenedetto, but Frank is off doing his MSP stuff today. So I'm going to chat with you today about a concept that I wanted. Really, I've been writing a bit about and talking about. If you follow me on social media, you saw I wrote about it earlier this week, and that is selling off of a quote instead of putting together a solid presentation. So we're going to talk about that, talk about why it's important not to do that, and share with you some stories and have a good conversation about this today. Want to first wish everybody in the U.S. a happy Memorial Day. If you're celebrating here in the United States, it's where we kind of ring in the spring. And of course, as I'm talking to you today, it is really cold outside for what should be a nice spring day. And I'm going to try my best to not have a full-blown allergy attack here live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. And if you're listening, watching live, please share, comment, let me know you're here. Love to hear from you. And on to what we're going to talk about, on to the topic for today, which is selling off the quote. I talk to MSPs all the time, and occasionally, usually what I do, because of what our company does, I ask them what they're doing today to sell their service. How are you selling? How are you doing upgrades? And what I hear every now and then is, well, I just put together a quote or a proposal and a kind of a quote-ish proposal using one of the quick proposal tools. Like there's a bunch of them out there. It's really just a quote with a couple of extra pages added to it. And what I mean by selling off the quote or a proposal is generating a real simple, price-focused document that shows the features and then the price. And what I mean by features is the things they're getting, right? So for an MSP, it might be, well, we're going to give you BDR, right? We're going to set you up with help desk, and it's going to cost you this much. It's just like a line item, one line item after the other. Here's what you get, right? 24-hour help desk, cabling. Here's the price. And here's your total monthly price number. And this is, unfortunately, and I hate to say this, I hate to be judgmental, so forgive me if I'm doing this, but if you're doing this, you're being lazy. It's a lazy approach because we value our own time more than we believe in a sales process. That's why people do that. Optimizing your time is a must. I don't want to fault anybody for doing that. Everybody should optimize their time to the best you can. But you have to temper this with optimizing the process or not optimizing effectiveness out of your process to trade time for results. The most important thing is that you have a strong presentation, a strong sales presentation that is compelling your buyer to buy what it is you sell. And I would love to hear your feedback on this. So feel free to comment on this on live, wherever you are. You can go over to my personal LinkedIn. And if we're not connected on LinkedIn, please definitely connect with me. But I put up a post about this, kind of the first post in a series that I'm going to be sharing on doing this, because I think it's a big enough issue that it needs to be addressed. And I would love your feedback, love to hear your stories on this. And I'm going to kind of talk about what I talked about in that post if you haven't read it. So, and this started when I talked to, I was not talking to somebody, but I was listening in on a conversation between a couple of MSPs. And one of them said, I got a call through the website. Somebody came in through the website. I'm really excited. It was a hot lead and they asked for a price quote. And then, I immediately started paying attention and tuning in. I'm like, oh, what are they going to do with this? And they explained how they are putting together a quote and they're going to send them a quote. And I had to bite my tongue because it wasn't my place to tell them, at that point, it wasn't my meeting. I was just kind of there to observe. But if I was talking to them, I would have slammed on the emergency brake and said, do not send them a quote. I know it's exciting that somebody came through the process. Somebody saw your marketing and took the time to fill out that form and request for you to send a quote, but don't send a quote. If you simply send or present off of a quote, what is your prospect going to focus on? And I want you to think about this for a moment. If I am providing a service to you, let's say I'm a marketing agency. I used to run a marketing agency, so I'm going to use that as an example. And by the way, I did this at my marketing agency, and I was wrong. So I'm not picking on you if you do this. I'm telling you, I was just as bad doing this myself, and I shouldn't. I learned my lesson. I'll tell you a little bit about that, about how I learned that lesson and how I changed and what the results were. But let's say I'm a marketing agency and you reach out to me and say, hey, I want to hire you to do my social media marketing and my Facebook ads and this and that, whatever it is. Can you send me a quote? And now I send you a quote. All right. I send you a 1-page quote with a bunch of line items on the quote, my company name's on there, maybe my logo's on there, and it says I'm going to do social media marketing, I'm going to do SEO, I'm going to do local search, whatever it is that you asked for. I'm going to do all those line items, and then it's going to cost you this much money. What are you going to focus on? Spoiler alert, you're going to focus on the price, and that is what your prospect is going to focus on. They are going to look at the price. Now, when we're selling, you need to sell the value or the benefits of what you're doing, not the features. That's first and foremost. If you're selling and explaining, well, we're going to put cabling in here and we're going to run it from here to here. And, it's going to be about 1,000 feet of cabling. It's going to run up in the drop ceiling and we're going to drop it down over in that room. And it's going to cost, $400 of labor. And I don't even know what that stuff costs, but that is telling you the feature and it's telling you what the price is. Now, anybody can come in and undercut you on that quote. So what you want to do is explain what the benefits are. What is the value? And that may be, listen, here's the deal. Your cabling is bad because of this reason. And somebody took a shortcut here. Let me show you why they took a shortcut and how bad this is for you. It's a fire hazard, or it's tripping people down the hallway. It's in your way. It's inefficient for this reason, and it's causing these problems that they may or may not know about. So you're explaining that to them, and then you're saying, here's what we're going to do. We're going to transition this from this to this, right? Maybe I mention the feature, and then I go into why that's important and explain, once I do this, your speed is going to be better and people aren't going to be tripping in the hallways. You're not going to have to worry about this for the next X amount of years because we've used super duper thicker cables or whatever it is. What's the benefit? What's the value to them? And then the money becomes a secondary thing, right? Especially if it's really the more valuable it is, the more the money's not going to be as much of an issue. So when you sell off of a quote, I can promise you there's only a few things that are happening. You're going to win the deal because you're the lowest price provider, right? Congratulations on your new needy headache client who is underpaying you because you were the lowest price deal. You won that. That is not the way to scale your business. You will never scale being the lowest price person competing on price. You just won't. Or you're going to lose parts of the sale. You could lose parts of the sale. What I mean by that is you sell them some of what they want, right? They're looking at that list and going, okay, this line item is this much and this line item. Can we get rid of this line item? Okay. And congratulations on your new needy headache client who's blaming you for underserving them. Or the last one is you're just going to lose the sale altogether because you were not the lowest quote they received. At least you don't have a needy headache client who's underpaying you and blaming you for their problems that you could have fixed, right? So that's probably good for you. And, I was talking to another MSP today who is a client of ours, and he said, he was telling me he actually walked out on a prospect who refused to let him present. They invited him in, and they were getting 3 others to quote. And when you're up against other people, you have to be the lowest priced client, the lowest priced quote, if you're going to win that deal, right? Because they're just going to compare all those quotes, and that's where doing a solid presentation is so important. And I don't care what you use. Like, you can use our tool, Audit, for that, but you can do this yourself. There's no reason why you can't create your own presentation. But what I'm saying here is the most important thing you can do for getting more sales, getting it at the right price, selling the services you need, is never selling off the quote. Don't be lazy. Put the time and effort in to do a really good deep dive into what they are experiencing. Why do they have you in there, right? Do a good walkthrough of their system, make sure of their environment, make sure you understand what their problems are, what their pains are, talk to them and listen, so you understand what the problems are, what the pains are, and then take the time to take all that information, however you gather it, and put it together in a solid presentation. Now, I know MSPs that take a lot of time doing this. And it's funny, the more successful they are, the more investment they have in putting together their presentations. Imagine that, right? The less successful MSPs tend to be, the more likely they are to put together poorer presentations, or not put in the effort into the presentation, or take the lazy way and sell off the quote. And I learned this lesson many, many times. I mean, and we do it over and over again, right? Like, as consumers, you put yourself in the consumer's position, right? Like, I was looking for a landscaper. I told this story in the LinkedIn post. I was looking for a landscaper a couple of years ago, and I invited 3 of them to come in and got 3 price quotes. They were all identical price type quotes. One was more expensive than the other. I took the lowest price guy. What else was I going to do? It was all apples to apples, right? Each quote was exactly the same as far as what they were going to offer. And I took the lowest price. And I was pretty unhappy with what I got. So years later, I'm doing it again. And I'm actually doing it this year. And one of them that was referred to me really did a good walkthrough with me, spend much more time with me, and asked really good questions, not just about what I wanted now. He was asking me what I wanted in the future, and really trying to understand where I was going to grow into with the things that I wanted to see in my yard. And we talked about things, and he ended up fleshing out in me things that I didn't realize I wanted, and I didn't realize I needed. And he showed me problems I didn't realize I had. He put together a presentation. He put together a process to show me what he could do now, and what he could do, in a year, and he gave me all these cool options. And the thing is it was way more expensive than what I was going to spend and what I was getting from the other ones. But guess what I did? I hired him because he was the one who delivered value. And this MSP who I was telling you about that turned away a prospect who wanted a quote, he constantly reports to me that he beats out lower priced competition because of exactly that, because they are selling off of the quote. And he is always more money. He is always charging more. So I think sometimes when people give a quote like that or do that kind of thing, they think, wow, this person's, I need to really focus on being low priced, and this person's not going to, they're not going to go for it if I charge them more, or if this is too expensive. And the truth is, if you show them why, and that you understand their problems, and that you're addressing their problems, and you show them the value, you show them the benefits, yes, they will hire you for more than they would hire somebody else, because nobody wants to get the cheapest service. Everybody wants to pay the lowest price. And that's naturally where our minds go. Right? We all go to, we want the lowest price. But it is not going to win you good quality business, not going to help you grow your MSP. And by the way, you may very well be doing your clients a disservice. You're definitely doing yourself a disservice by selling off of a quote and being the lowest price, but you could be doing your clients a disservice. And the reason is because you can't now afford to provide the service they need. And I see it again and again with people who, MSPs who come in and replace a MSP who was their MSP for a year and then got fired, and another MSP comes in and then they get fired because the client's never happy. And the client doesn't stop to realize, well, if I paid these guys what they should be paid, if I didn't squabble over price, maybe I would get the service I'm paying for. You have to find a way to show them why they need it, what they need, and why it's worth more, right? And they have to be compelled and persuaded at the end of that presentation to go, you know what? Yep, it's 2,000 or double or whatever more than my budget, more than I'm paying now. But now I understand why I need to pay that. And I'm going to do it because I need the right solution. If you show them the right solution, you're going to win. And I'm really passionate about this. I mean, I know firsthand that selling off a quote is lazy and a surefire way to slow or halt your growth, because I did it. Right? I did it. I sold off quotes in my marketing agency prior to being here at Audit. I was the guy who just sent you a quote, right? Or showed up for a meeting with a quote. And I did it because I was small. You know, I was a small agency. I didn't have high priced stuff and I didn't have a lot of time. I wanted to do it quick. I was lazy. And what happened was my business wasn't growing. It was a lot of work. I was very, very busy doing the things, to providing the service, doing the work, because I couldn't hire anybody. I couldn't bring on new people to help me. So I couldn't grow my business. It was miserable. And the worst part is when I was asked to quote a company that was bigger or needed more services than my typical low-priced client, I actually would turn them down a lot of times. I would say, you know, you're not tell them they were out of my league, but that's what I thought. I felt like, oh, they really need a bigger company. And I would refer them to bigger companies. And I was proud of that. I wore that as a badge of honor. Wow, I refer all my high-priced business to this agency and they provide all their terrible, I want a price quote business to me. That was, you know, for a while, I thought that was great. I was excited and it was terrible. It was horrible. So don't do that. I don't recommend doing that. So I had a paradigm shift with that. I realized, you know, I got to change something here. And I got a referral to a company that was fairly large. It was a $20 million a year company. They had a marketing budget. They had marketing people. They actually had employees in their company that would do marketing. Until then, I was really serving mom and pop places that couldn't afford to spend a dime. And this company was a big company with a big budget, and they wanted to do things that was pretty aggressive. And I said, you know what? I really want to work for this company. I'd gone in to talk to them, and I did a pretty good job of building rapport and gathering information, gathering data that I needed. And I thought I built a really nice relationship with them. And I thought, I really want to work for this company. And something in me clicked, and I was like, I was sitting at home and I remember thinking, okay, I scheduled a follow-up appointment to come and do a presentation for them. And it was going to be a week or so away. And I sat there in my home thinking, I'm just going to email them and tell them I can't do this. I can't come in to do the quote. It's not the right fit for me. And something snapped and I said, yeah, no, I'm going to present the solution that I know that they need based on what they want, what they need, what their problems are. And I'm going to spend the time and put together a killer solution, a killer proposal. And I used all of my marketing experience and all my sales experience, which told me, you know, you have to sell the benefits. You have to sell the value. Don't worry about the features and all that stuff. And I put together a great presentation. It took me probably 7-8 hours to put that presentation together. But when I was done, I had something that was really compelling and persuasive. And I presented it to them. And I was going up against three or four other places. And I won. I won the bid. They hired me. And it was more than I had ever charged by a dramatic margin. It enabled me to go hire somebody to help me do the work that I needed to do. And nothing was the same after that. They referred me to other businesses in their industry. They referred me to their industry organization. And after about a year, I had 10, 12 clients in that vertical. and I was just killing it. Everything changed. I was able to hire. I was able to spend money on the tools that I needed to deliver a better product. So now I was not only not doing them a disservice, but I was doing them a huge service by providing what was really white glove, high level service to them because I could afford to do it. So that is I'm going to get off my soapbox a little bit. If you have comments, please feel free to leave a comment in there, but or go to my LinkedIn. I'll tell you, I'm easy to find on LinkedIn. I'm linkedin.com/in/Mike S. Brooks, S in the middle there. And that is that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I'm really passionate about that. I really want to tell you that if you are selling off the quote, if you're just putting together a fast proposal, stop doing that right now. And if you want to bounce, if you're, I know it can be scary, right? Like if you are in that position, you're like thinking, well, I'm nervous about doing that. Hey, reach out to me. I'm Mike at auditforit.com. That's audit, FORIT.com. I'm happy to answer questions for you or give you a little encouragement or motivation to be able to make that change. It's incredibly important. The time investment is going to pay for itself in spades. I mean, it's just, I can't tell you how it will propel you. And if you're not selling, if you're doing this already, you're probably nodding your head that yes, exactly. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching me on a Friday before a holiday weekend here in the US and or wherever you are watching this. And I will see you on the next episode next week, same time, same channel. Until then, keep on elevating IT.